Hi, I'm Celeste and welcome to Find Your Purple. Well, this morning I decided to read Matthew, and I came across in chapter 20 a parable that brought back some memories to me, so I thought I would share them with you. But it's the story about the estate manager who hires workers throughout the day, and he hires one in the very beginning of the day, and he agrees to pay him $20, and throughout the day he continues to hire people, and an hour before closing he hires another one. Well, the end of the day comes and he goes over to the last man hired and pays him the $20, and he goes from last to first. By the time he gets to the first guy, the guy's all excited, expecting to get a lot more than 20 because he spent the whole day there, and he was given the same 20 that the man who had only worked an hour got. And he protested. And the estate manager asked the guy, "Is it against the law for me to give away my money? And should you be angry that I am kind?" And the statement was, "And so it is that the last shall be first and the first last." I'm not sure I get that all exactly, but what it reminded me of is when I grew up, I was in the Catholic Church, and the last sacrament is a sacrament that if you give it to a person on their deathbed, then they can go to heaven. And I remember at the time asking the question, okay, since my grandmother, very good person, but not perfect, if she went through a life and didn't have the last sacrament, at that time I believe they would go to purgatory. But if a murderer happened to run across a priest in his dying moments and got the last sacrament, he'd bypass purgatory and go straight to heaven. I remember at the time thinking, well, that didn't seem fair. I mean, he or she worked all of her life trying to be a good person, and this guy comes across God at the last minute. And the same thing, here I am in my 60s, I'm just now accepting Christ into my heart and accepting him as my Savior. Someone in their 20s accepting Christ and their Savior, we're both going to be going to the same place. And it just made me think about that when I read the parable, because I remember kind of thinking it wasn't fair too. So I would have probably reacted the same way as the guy in the story. You know, he worked an hour and got 20. I worked 10 hours and get 20. What's fair in that? But last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Still haven't figured out exactly what that means, but I do know it's better late than never. So I'm glad that I've taken the steps and I'm moving forward. So my last, however many years I have left, are going to be totally different than the first 60 years because of my new faith. So it's always grab your cup of tea, sit back, and let's start sharing. Until tomorrow, bye-bye.